Deep within a vast American wilderness, far from cities and highways, there was a jungle that stretched endlessly in every direction. Tall pine trees touched the sky, thick green undergrowth covered the earth, and the only sounds were birds, wind, and distant flowing water. It was a place untouched by development, ruled entirely by nature. But one quiet morning at sunrise, that silence was broken by the deep rumble of heavy engines entering the forest. Construction trucks rolled slowly over a temporary dirt road, followed by bulldozers, excavators, cranes, and drilling machines. Engineers stepped out holding digital maps and blueprints. Their mission was ambitious, to build a railway track straight through the jungle, connecting two distant regions and creating a new transportation route through the wilderness. Survey teams began marking a straight line across the forest using GPS and laser tools. Bright flags were tied to trees. Soon, chainsaws roared to life. One by one, trees were cut down carefully and systematically. Bulldozers pushed aside massive logs while excavators removed roots buried deep in the soil. The jungle slowly opened up, revealing a long, straight corridor cutting through the dense forest. Once the land was cleared, graders flattened the uneven ground. Heavy rollers compressed the soil to create a solid base. Layer after layer of crushed stone was spread evenly across the path, forming the ballast foundation. Then came the day the steel rails arrived. Concrete sleepers were carefully placed at equal distances across the gravel bed. Using cranes, workers lowered shining steel rails onto the sleepers. Sparks flew into the air as welding machines fused the rails together. Bolt by bolt, section by section, the railway stretched deeper and deeper into the jungle. From above, it looked like a silver ribbon slicing through endless green. For months, progress moved forward smoothly, until the workers reached an enormous obstacle. A massive mountain stood directly in the railway's path. Going around it would mean adding miles to the route and wasting valuable time. The only realistic option was to go through it. Engineers gathered to study geological reports. Surveyors climbed the rocky slopes to mark precise entry and exit points. Soon, heavy drilling machines were positioned at the base of the mountain. Powerful drills began boring deep holes into the rock. After drilling, controlled explosives were carefully placed into the holes. A loud warning siren sounded through the trees, and moments later a thunderous explosion shook the ground. Dust and broken rock burst outward from the mountainside. Excavators immediately moved in to clear debris. The process repeated again and again: drill, blast, remove. Day by day, the tunnel pushed deeper into the heart of the mountain. Inside, workers installed steel reinforcement frames to support the walls. Concrete was sprayed onto exposed rock surfaces to strengthen them. Drainage channels were built along the floor to prevent water buildup, while ventilation systems ensured fresh air could flow through the growing tunnel. At the same time, another crew began drilling from the opposite side of the mountain. Both teams worked with extreme precision, calculating every angle and measurement carefully. Weeks later, the distant sound of drilling could finally be heard from the other side. A faint crack appeared in the rock ahead, and a thin beam of light passed through. With one final controlled blast, the two sides connected perfectly. Cheers echoed inside the tunnel. The breakthrough was complete. With the tunnel reinforced and fully open, railway construction resumed. Ballast was spread along the tunnel floor. Sleepers were positioned precisely, and steel rails were lowered into place and welded together. Emergency walkways and lighting systems were installed along the tunnel walls. Every inch of the track was carefully inspected. Now the railway extended from deep within the jungle, straight through the mountain, and into the open land beyond. On the other side lay a peaceful valley surrounded by trees and rolling hills. This beautiful location was chosen for a railway station, a place where trains could stop and passengers could connect with the new route. Construction began immediately. A strong concrete foundation was poured, and steel columns rose upward to form the station's structure. The design was modern yet simple, blending naturally with the environment. A long platform was built alongside the track, perfectly aligned for arriving trains. Safety lines were painted along its edge. Benches were installed for waiting passengers, and tall lighting poles were placed along the platform. Inside the station building, ticket counters, waiting areas, and digital display boards were installed. Large glass panels allowed travelers to look out at the valley and surrounding forest. Landscaping crews planted fresh greenery around the building, ensuring the station felt like a natural extension of the land. After months of relentless effort, the railway line, tunnel, and station were finally complete. On opening day, the workers gathered proudly on the platform. Their clothes were worn and dusty from hard labor, but their faces showed satisfaction and pride. They had carved a path through wilderness and stone, turning vision into reality. In the distance, a train horn echoed through the valley. The train approached from the jungle, rolling smoothly along the newly built steel tracks. It entered the mountain tunnel, its headlights glowing against the reinforced walls, and moments later it emerged into the open valley. Slowing gently, it pulled into the station and came to a perfect stop. Applause filled the air. What was once untouched wilderness was now connected by a powerful railway line. The jungle, the mountain, and the valley were no longer barriers. They had become part of a single journey. As the camera slowly rose high into the sky, the full railway route became visible, a shining steel path cutting through dense forest, disappearing into the mountain and reappearing beside the peaceful valley station. A new era had begun.